The books of Adam and Eve. Thus spake the Lord, and ordered us to be out of paradise. But your father Adam wept before the angels opposite paradise, and the angels saying to him, Why wouldest thou have us to do, Adam? And your father saith to them, Behold, ye cast me out. I pray you, allow me to take away fragrant herbs from paradise, so that I may offer an offering to God after I have gone out of paradise, that he hear me. And the angels approached God and said, Yael, eternal King, command, my Lord, that there be given to Adam incense of sweet odour from paradise, and seeds for his food. And God bade Adam to go and take sweet spices and fragrant herbs from paradise, and seeds for his food. And the angels let him go, and he took 4 kinds, crocus, and nard, and calamus, and cinnamon, and the other seeds for his food. And after taking these, he went out of paradise, and we were on the earth. Now then, my children, I have shown you the way in which we were deceived, and do ye guard yourselves from transgressions against the good. And when Eve had said this in the midst of her sons, while Adam was lying ill and bound to die after a single day from the sickness which had fastened upon him, she said to him, How is it that thou diest, and I live? Or how long have I to live after thou art dead? Tell me. And Adam saith to her, Reck not of this, for thou tarriest not after me, but even both of us are to die together. And she shall lie in my place. But when I die, anoint me, and let no man touch me, till the angel of the Lord shall speak somewhat concerning me. For God will not forget me, but will seek his own creature. And now arise rather, and pray to God, till I give up my spirit into his hands, who gave it me. For we know not how we are to meet our Maker, whether he be wroth with us, or be merciful and intend to pity and receive us. And Eve rose up and went outside and fell on the ground and began to say, I have sinned, O God, I have sinned, O God of all. I have sinned against thee. I have sinned against the elect angels. I have sinned against the cherubim. I have sinned against thy faithful and unshakable throne. I have sinned before thee, and all sin hath begun through my doing in the creation. Even thus prayed Eve on her knees, and behold, the angel of humanity came to her and raised her up and said, Rise up, Eve, from thy penitence, and behold, Adam thy husband hath gone out of his body. Rise up, and behold his spirit borne aloft to his Maker. And Eve rose up and wiped off her tears with her hand, and the angel saith to her, Lift up thyself from the earth. And she gazed steadfastly into heaven, and beheld a chariot of light, borne by 4 bright eagles. And it were impossible for any man born of woman to tell the glory of them, or behold their face. And angels going before the chariot. And when they came to the place where your father Adam was, the chariot halted, and the seraphim. And I beheld golden censers between your father and the chariot. And all the angels with censers and frankincense came in haste to the incense offering, and blew upon it. And the smoke of the incense veiled the firmaments. And the angels fell down and worshipped God, crying aloud and saying, Yael, Holy One, have pardon, for he is thy image, and the work of thy holy hands. And I, Eve, beheld 2 great and fearful wonders standing in the presence of God. And I wept for fear, and I cried aloud to my son Seth, and said, Rise up, Seth, from the body of thy father Adam, and come to me. and thou shalt see a spectacle which no man's eyes hath yet beheld. And just as Michael the archangel had foretold, after 6 days came Adam's death. When Adam perceived that the hour of his death was at hand, he said to all his sons, Behold, I am 930 years old, and if I die, bury me towards the rising, the sun rising in the field of yonder dwelling. And it came to pass that when he had finished all his discourse, he gave up the ghost. Then was the sun darkened, and the moon, and the stars for 7 days. And Seth in his mourning embraced from above the body of his father. And Eve was looking on the ground with hands folded over her head, and all her children wept most bitterly. And behold, there appeared Michael the angel, and stood at the head of Adam. And he said to Seth, Rise up from the body of thy father, and come to me, and see what is the doom of the Lord concerning him. His creature is he, and God has pitied him. And all the angels blew their trumpets and cried, Blessed art thou, O Lord, for thou hast had pity on thy creature. And Seth saw the hand of God stretched out holding Adam, and he handed him over to Michael, saying, Let him be in thy charge till the day of judgment and punishment, till the last years, when I will convert his sorrow into joy. Then shall he sit on the throne of him who hath been his supplanter. And the Lord said again to the angels Michael and Uriel, Bring me 3 linen cloths of byssus, and spread them out over Adam, and other linen clothes over Abel his son, and bury Adam and Abel his son. And all the powers of angels marched before Adam, and the sleep of the dead was consecrated. And the angels Michael and Uriel buried Adam and Abel in the parts of paradise, before the eyes of Seth and his mother, and no one else. And Michael and Uriel said, Just as ye have seen, in like manner bury your dead. 6 days after Adam died, and Eve perceived that she would die, so she assembled all her sons and daughters, Seth with 30 brothers and 30 sisters. And Eve said to all, Hear me, my children, and I will tell you what the archangel Michael said to us when I and your father transgressed the commandment of God. On account of your transgression, our Lord will bring upon your race the anger of his judgment, first by water, the second time by fire. By these two the Lord judged the whole human race. But hearken unto me, my children, make ye then tables of stone, and others of clay, and write on them all my life and your father's, all that ye have heard and seen from us. If by water the Lord judge our race, the tables of clay will be dissolved, and the tables of stone will remain. But if by fire, the tables of stone will be broken up, and the tables of clay will be baked hard. When Eve had said all this to her children, she spread out her hands to heaven in prayer, and bent her knees to the earth. And while she worshipped the Lord and gave thanks to him, she gave up the ghost. Thereafter all her children buried her with loud lamentation. When they had been mourning 4 days, then Michael the archangel appeared and said to Seth, Man of God, mourn not for thy dead more than 6 days, for on the 7th day is the sign of the resurrection and the rest of the age to come. On the 7th day the Lord rested from all his works. Therefore Seth made the tables. That is the end of the books of Adam and Eve, there is also the books of Adam and Eve in a different language that had been preserved, which I may also read. Very similar. It's the Slavic, which has just different emphasis, but very much the same. So I'll see if I've got time to read that too. I hope you've all enjoyed it and take something away from it. Thank you.